Guys, I have not been this excited in a very long time. This is such a fun video for me to record. You're watching me unbox an Xlaserlab X1 Pro laser welder. The good people at Xlaserlab sent me this absolutely glorious machine. They heard about my upcoming projects, like the Aurelia supercar project, and they wanted to help out. They wanted to be a part of this, so they sent me this machine, and I'm super grateful. The box came with a bunch of extra goodies like gloves and all sorts of consumables, etc. You'll see me open them here. Here's a mask. Especially when doing stainless steel, you want to be using something like that. This is the wire feed itself, separate from the unit, unlike a MIG, which would have it integrated into the unit. And it comes with 4 drive wheels. There's 2 additional in the back for different size wire. And finally, the big box, which Customs didn't even open, by the way. And some laser safe glasses. This is like a ground. I'm not even sure what that is. A lot of stuff in here. I'm still not sure what it all is. This is like a little test piece that they provided to show the machine worked. Beautiful little welds. This is steel. Sorry this footage is a little bit blurry too. I fix it as we move forward in the video. I apologize. Little safety switch. These I think are like replacement lenses or something. To read the instructions exactly how they're consumables that need to be used and replaced every so often, but I'm not sure how often. And this little box here, this little tin has nozzles, different nozzles in it. I just used the nozzle that it came with. I didn't even switch it out for all the stuff you see me do in this video. More consumables, some sort of lenses or something. I didn't even open them. Here's the gun portion itself. A little different than MIG or TIG, but pretty straightforward. And by the way, the packaging, whoever packaged these needs a raise, because I've never seen such perfect packaging for anything I've ever purchased. Here's all the stuff that came with the kit. Lots and lots and lots of things. And of course the instruction manual, which I'll have to read.
So as you can see, this is a lot more complicated than your standard MIG or TIG setup. Before I get started explaining what this stuff is, I had to get this adapter. The plug that comes with the unit, at least mine, had one of the prongs is horizontal and not vertical, like 2 verticals. And I didn't have that plug in the shop. So I bought the stuff to have my brother install it in the shop. And it turned out that I bought one of these and I needed to buy one of these. And so when we were figuring out that that wasn't going to work and I had to buy new parts, I saw on the back of the welder it says 220 on it, not 110. So I wrote to the company and they told me that I could use my 220 outlet that I already have in the shop for my TIG. And so I had to buy this adapter. And this adapter is basically for the 220 outlet to whatever they call that outlet with the horizontal prongs. So if you guys need this, I will have a link to Amazon in the description below the video so you guys can pick one of these up. I think it's 20 bucks. Okay, so you have the unit itself, you have the wire feed, which is separate, unlike a MIG. You have this safety switch, which is actually magnetic, which is kind of cool. There's also a safety switch on the front of it here, you can see. There is the gun itself with the wire feed coming up to the end of it. And this is, it's a ground, sort of. It's not really a ground, it's basically like a safety switch. So you don't need ground, obviously, if you're using a laser to be doing the welding, but it does function as a ground. So that's where we stand with all this stuff. That's why all these wires are everywhere. I'm going to try to get this out of the way so we can just have a clear open area here. I need to set up a more appropriate welding area, actually. This is what I have right now, but we will be upgrading the shop when we move to a new shop, and it'll be a proper welding area. Anyway, let's get this thing set up, and let's get started doing a demonstration.
So let's first go over the controls of this thing. You have 3 different settings: welding, cutting, and cleaning, and you just confirm whatever setting you want. There are lots of metals already in here for different thicknesses, and it'll kind of adjust it for you. The metals, you have to kind of look those up, because I'm not sure what most of those are. Aluminum, obviously, AL, and your thickness over here, and then just confirm. And you can change all these different parameters too. You don't have to leave it at what it is. You're gonna have to make sure to turn the wire feed on. For some reason it turns itself off a lot, but make sure that's on. And this is how you power it on. When you do that, you'll get a confirmation here that you're wearing glasses. Click that, and then don't forget, turn it back on after that. When it lights up green, it's on. I always turn it off to be safe. And you can change these parameters too to suit your needs. Now back to mode selection, we'll go to cutting. I did not use cutting in this video. You need compressed air, I think, to be able to do this. But you do have the option to do that. And these are your parameters you can set. And then the last setting is cleaning, which is like rust removal or even paint removal. And here are your parameters you can set for that. Pretty straightforward. Back to welding. Okay, so I did some testing for, well, first of all, make sure to wear your safety goggles. It's extremely important. I did some testing, and I was actually had a problem with the wire feed because of the wire I chose. So this is my first, actually second test weld, test bead that I put down. This is on 3mm or 1/8 inch aluminum, and it's beautiful, and it was so easy to do. Here you can see it up close. And if you flip it over, you can see the problems I was having are just causing me all kinds of issues. But I used thicker wire, and it solved the issues just fine. Here's my first real weld on 1/8 inch aluminum. And as you can see, it'll jump around a little bit, and you gotta keep it straight. You can see I came off track there at the end, and that comes into play a little later on with the strength when I test it. I did both sides. And it's not like MIG or TIG. You don't hover, you actually touch the wire to the part, and then the wire pushes you along at the proper speed. So it's very easy to do this. As you can see, they're very nice welds. Except for there, but that's my fault. It's a little hard to get used to not hovering. So here I'm testing. You can already see on the right hand side there, the end of that weld is not quite secure. That's my fault for welding off center. But where the weld is holding, you can see that even the metal is deforming pretty greatly, and the weld itself is holding 100%. I mean, that's very impressive. And I try to give it a little extra This is all the 3mm or 1/8" stuff that I had, so I can't get really good leverage on this thing. But it's the biggest I had on hand. But as you can see, I mean, this is very, very strong stuff here. These videos where laser welders are not welding stuff, they're just not using the tool properly. Because if you do it right, it holds perfectly. This is what I'm really interested in. This is 63 thousandths aluminum, and this one actually I messed up on. You can see I went out of track multiple times, so I didn't get very good welds on it. It welded fine, but it was me that was not welding straight, so it was giving me issues here. But this is what I'm going to be welding mostly, which is why I was so interested in having a laser welder, because TIG welding thin aluminum, if you guys have done any of that, oof, what a nightmare. But this is just a pure joy. I got a really good weld on this one. I practiced a couple times, and you can see I've got a weld across the entire piece here. And I'm just gonna put a wrench on it, bend on it some, and as you can see, it's a solid piece now. Now it does break. I broke it on purpose to see where it would break, and it breaks beyond the weld, so it's actually snapping beyond where the weld is. And I'm really cranking on this too. It's pretty stiff stuff. As you can see, it broke outside of the weld, so the weld held just fine. I got a little bit of a close-up here, as you can see. The weld is perfect, and it broke outside of the weld, which is pretty much to be expected. Here I'm using 1/8" steel plate. This is my first time using steel. This is 30 thousandths wire. You can run 30 thousandths wire in steel, but you can't do that in aluminum because it will not feed properly. So you can use the thinner wire for steel. I just followed the little trench, and I didn't even weld the backside of this. You can see I flip it over here in a second. You can actually I'm just looking at the weld, examining it, and look at the backside, and it's almost a complete weld on the back as well, which I did not expect. I thought that it would be a real problem, and I'd have to do both sides. Now in the real world I probably would do both sides just to be sure, but that worked out really well. This is just some metal I had laying around. It's from TV stand or a TV mount, and this blew me away the way this looked. I mean, I am like, this is I was stunned at how amazing this weld was. It is so perfect and so clean and so easy, and it took I mean, you saw it was like 1 second of welding. I mean, it would almost be a shame to like dress the bead and like grind it down. Like, I want people to see that instead of hiding it. It's incredible. And you can also do some laser cleaning. You can do cutting as well. I didn't do that, but the laser cleaning is very easy, and what a handy little tool this is. This is all included with the kit. You can see like it just burns through that rust. You can ignore those ugly old welds from my early MIG welding days. Here's I don't even know what this thing is, but it's a big, ugly, rusty part that I found, and I wanted to see what it would do. Now, it kind of scared me because it was a little loud, all these sparks and everything flying, but yeah, it works great. It's just like, it's like sandblasting, but with laser light. And it's pretty easy, and I can imagine this being very, very, very handy for people to use, especially if you're a mechanic or something, and you know, you got a lot of stuff to clean up. Boy, this is the way to do it. And while I was at it, I was thinking, you know what? I wonder if this thing can burn paint off too. So I got that that thing I just welded up, and it's got some kind of paint on it. I just want to see if it would take it off of there. And I shouldn't have been shocked, because of course it does. And it works super easy. Look at this. I mean, that's like... What an amazing feature this thing has. Super cool. Okay, overall impressions for the Xlaserlab X1 Pro welding machine. I could not be happier. This thing is everything I imagined it would be, plus. It's my favorite tool now in the shop. If you pick one up, I'm sure it'll be your favorite tool as well. There'll be a link in the description for more information on how to get one of these. The welds are incredible. I'm not really much of a MIG or TIG welder. I mean, I do the job. I mean, you know, I'm not a professional welder by any means. But this makes me look like a professional. I mean, I am far more proficient with this, even after years of doing MIG and TIG work. I'm just blown away. Plus the cutting feature, which I did not use, and the laser cleaning feature, I mean, those are, I mean, it's just, it's an incredible machine. The welds speak for themselves. You saw the pictures in the videos. A couple of things that I wish were a little bit different. I had some issues with the wire diameter in aluminum. I bought 30 thousandths thinking that it were 0.8 millimeter, thinking that it would work. And it was too thin to feed into the machine. Now, so I talked to the company, and they walked me through it and told me that I needed thicker wire. It was just as simple as that. But none of that stuff is in the instructions. Most of the stuff in the instructions is just about safety. They don't really show you all that much how to actually operate the machine. I wish the instructions were a little bit more clear. Most of that stuff is safety, and it's like, it made me afraid of the welder, to be honest. At first I was afraid of it, thinking that it was going to blind me or catch something on fire. It's not as dangerous as it really seems. I mean, it is dangerous, don't get the wrong idea, but it is perfectly usable in a home shop. There's no issues with that. I'm very comfortable with it now, as comfortable as I am with any other welding. Another problem that I noticed was the glasses are green. I imagine that all of the laser glasses are going to be green like this. And the controls, a lot of the lights on the board are also green. So it's sometimes more difficult to see if it's on or not. And so you have to constantly take your glasses off to make sure that it is off when you want it to be off and on when you want it to be on. Another thing, I don't know why, but it forces you to turn the wire feed on all the time. So if you forget to turn it on, it'll weld a lot like what you saw me do in the beginning of the video, where the laser will melt the metal, but there's no additional wire added. I'm not sure why it turns itself off like that. Also, the metals are labeled in a really weird way, so you have to kind of look them up to see what kind of metals they are. Maybe you guys are experts, I don't know, but I certainly was confused by it. I understood aluminum, but the rest of them I had to kind of look up to see what they meant. The gun, I don't know if this is necessary for safety or something, but and I'm sure you can't see this very well, but there's two triggers here. I didn't use the top trigger. That's just to change the settings or something. I didn't use that at all. But the bottom trigger button, the actual action button for the welder, is just a simple button. And when you're wearing gloves, it's hard to know that you're on the button. It's hard to feel where that button is. And I was constantly like looking for it as I was using it. I would prefer it to be more like a MIG trigger, like a traditional trigger, like a MIG machine would have. I think that would be better. I think especially because you need to be sure that you're not tripping it accidentally. And so maybe that's a safety thing though. I don't know, I'm not sure. But All of those things said, I can work around all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's not, those are not, you know, deal breakers by any stretch. I'm completely blown away by it. It's way better than I thought it would be, and I was pretty impressed seeing a couple videos on it before I actually got this thing. I couldn't be more impressed. It's amazing. It's my favorite tool, and I can't recommend it highly enough. If you're thinking about buying one, stop thinking about it and go do it. There's a link in the description below, so you can go check it out and learn about it. Yeah, A+, guys. I can't say enough good stuff about it. I'm very happy. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. The Aurelius project is coming up. I actually have a couple of other projects specifically for this Laser Welder 2 coming up. I've got another Rocketeer jetpack build, and I'm going to do a couple of mask commissions too, and I'll show you how this thing works on a real project, not just little practice sheets. Anyway, that's it for me. See you guys later. Like, share, and subscribe.